Hi, this is Karen with Karen's Cards and More, and I want to welcome you to our first Stamp and Share for the month of November. This month we're going to be featuring the Snowflake Wishes stamp set and the coordinating die set, which is a rather large set of dies. There's 2 sheets for it, and these are called, let me see if I can find the name of it, So Many Snowflakes dies. There's a frame and some snowflakes, and then there's the coordinating die set, Snowflake Wishes. So that's what we're going to be working on for the month of November. If you're new to my Stamp and Share, or if you're watching the replay on YouTube and you wonder what I mean by Stamp and Share, on my Facebook page, Karen's Cards and More, every Monday night at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do a card and I post it on there for the month so you know what I'm going to be doing each week, so that you can buy the products and craft along with me, and you can share comments and we can chat as we craft. I keep an eye on the comments as I'm crafting, so if you've not joined me, I hope that you'll consider doing that. I also have a Facebook group, Karen's Cards and More. Be sure to join that. And I'm just going to go ahead and get started with this card. Tonight I figured November would be a good time to start focusing on Christmas. So we're going to do a Christmas card tonight. And we're just using the stamp set tonight. We're not going to be using the dies tonight. We'll use the dies, a few of the dies next week. But for tonight, we're just going to do some stamping, and we're going to make this Slimline card. So let's talk about what you would need to make this. You would need a piece of Night of Navy, and this is 8 by 9, scored on the 8-inch side at 4. That would be the middle, and so that will make the card. Then you're going to need a piece of Balmy Blue that is 3 3/4 by 8 3/4. Then you're going to need a piece of Basic White for the front panel that is 3.5 by 8.5. You'll also need a piece of Basic White that is 3 3/4 by 8 3/4, and this is going to go on the inside of the card. Okay, so we're just going to do, this is going to be a really quick card because it's all stamping. We're going to do a little bit of heat embossing, but it really goes together pretty easy. So we're going to start with this white piece. And first thing we want to do is get our greeting on there, because we're going to do these snowflakes all around the greeting, but we need to get our greeting in place first so that we know that we're going to have room for that. And the greeting I'm using tonight is Snowflake Wishes. And I noticed that this was slipping a little bit. Sometimes the polymer stamp sets, they don't seem like that they are gripping very well, but let me show you what I do for that. I have these alcohol wipes. They're just sterile alcohol pads. I bought mine on Amazon. You could probably get them like at Walmart, somewhere like that. And if you take this alcohol pad and you just wipe the back of your stamp, if it's not sticking, just go over the back with that. And that'll help it be sticky again. So just go over it like that, and then let it dry for a second, and it'll stick right to your block. Okay, so I'm just going to move that out of the way. And then we're just going to stick this on here. Just like that. Now, you might also notice that mine has a red tint, pink tint. Last year, this set actually came out last year, and I used it with some red, and so it stained it, but I cleaned the stamp, so there's not red ink on there. It's not going to come off on your project. It's okay if it discolors it a little. It's not going to affect the way it stamps. So, let's bring in the Night of Navy. We're going to start with Night of Navy. And I'm just going to ink this up. Just going to tap it on here till I get some good coverage on my stamp. I'm going to look at it and make sure, and I see a couple bare spots, so I'm going to go back and stamp some more, make sure I've got ink on the whole piece, the whole stamp, and that looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to put this in the lower right hand corner, and I'm just going to I want to try to make it straight as I can, and I'm just going to put this down. Now I do have a piece of foam underneath this scrap paper, just a piece of packing type foam, and that helps the polymer stamps get a better image. And look what I did, I just smeared that. So I'm going to flip this over and redo it. I got ink on my fingers and smeared it on my card. So I'm just going to restamp this. That looks good. And I'm just going to put this down right here. And we're going to be using 2 different snowflakes tonight. Actually, we're going to be using 3, but 2 main snowflakes and then a cluster of snowflakes. So let's start with this little small one, and I'm going to, it's having a little bit trouble sticking as well, so I'm just going to go over that with the alcohol wipe and let it dry a little bit. And this one looks, it's a smaller snowflake, and it has some dimension. Let me bring in it might be easier to see on here. So this is the one I'm using first, and we're going to use the Night of Navy on it. Then we're going to be using this one, and we're going to be doing Balmy Blue. And then we're going to use these this cluster of little snowflakes, and that we're going to use gold embossing powder with. So that's the stamps that we're going to use. So let's go ahead with our Night of Navy, and I'm just going to do some random snowflakes. I want some of them to go off the page, some of them to be on the page. We're going to go back in with the Balmy Blue to do in between. We're going to add the gold in between, so you don't want to put too many. You can always add more at the end if you want to. So I would definitely go less to start, because you can always add more. So I'm going to start with this. There's my first one, and I'm just going to keep talking as I stamp. And like I said, I want some of them to go off the page and some of them to be completely on the page, just to give a little bit of variety, a little bit of a different look. And like I said, we can always add more at the end. Okay, now I'm going to stop there on the Night of Navy for a moment, because I want to come in with the Balmy Blue and then see where I come up with after that. I think that's going to be enough of the Night of Navy, because we want to leave room for the gold. So I'm going to go ahead and close that up. And so then this next one I'm going to use with the Balmy Blue. I'm just going to ink that up. And I'm going to come in and just do these the same way, just randomly adding them to the card. Let's see. And there's no right or wrong. I'm not trying to do a specific pattern. I'm just randomly adding the snowflakes, making sure I leave room for my gold. Okay, I think that looks good. And then, so now I want to let that set for just a second because I want to go over it with my embossing buddy. So I just want to give this a moment to let the ink dry so I don't smear it. And then I'm just going to come in and do this. And I'm just kind of pouncing just to make sure I don't smear the ink. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with my Versamark. Now this may be a little hard to see. You won't see the Versamark when you stamp it on. So you just need to take note of where you're stamping so that you don't overstamp it a second time. You could always put a few on there and then put your gold powder and then stamp some more. So let's just start. We're going to start on one side and work our way across. I find that usually helps me not overlap when I don't want to overlap. So I'm going to start up in this corner. Just like that. I'm going to come in between down here. Just adding the gold in between the blues. And I'm purposely turning my stamp so that the snowflakes aren't all going the same way. And again with this, you can make it as congested or as sparse as you want. It's all about what you like. So I'm just going to keep going here. And I think I might go ahead and add my gold before I do any more, just so I can see where I have spot left to add more. So I'm just going to pick this up and just add some gold powder. Like this. And I'm going to put the gold back in my cup so I can do some more. When you buy the embossing powder, it comes in a set of 3, but this will last you a very, very long time. It's a worthwhile investment because you're just going to be able to do a lot of cards before you run out of powder. So definitely a good investment. And then I've got a little bit where I don't want it, so I'm just going to use my fingernail. You could use a little thin paintbrush and go over that. And I see that I have room to add some more. So I'm just going to put my gold powder back in here. I'm going to bring my scrap paper back. I'm just going to fold it to make it a little bit smaller to work with. And I'm going to use my snowflakes and my Versamark. And I'm just going to add a few more right there. Let's see, where else do I want to add? I think I want to go, if I can get one over here. Okay. And then I think I want to do a little bit just right underneath that. And I think that's going to be good. So now I'm just going to sprinkle over top of where I just put the gold. Now remember, this isn't heat set yet, so you don't want to put your hands over top of where you've got powder already, or it will wipe off. So I'm just getting some of that extra off of there. If you don't, when you heat set it, that will become permanent and it'll be little spots on there. So you definitely want to take a few minutes and look it over. Make sure you get any excess gold off. Okay, just giving it a final look. And I think that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to come back and put my powder back in my cup. Close all this up. Now, if you're using, just one thing I want to caution you about, we're going to be using the heat gun to set this. And you want to be cautious with your surface. My surface is a laminate surface, so heat could hurt it. If you're using granite, you're probably okay. This foam piece, I don't want to heat emboss over top of that because this will melt. So just be thinking about how you're heat embossing. So that you don't melt something that you don't want to melt, okay? So I'm going to hold it way up above my surface. I know this is a little loud, but you'll see, I don't know if you'll see it on camera, but you'll see it change to like a more shiny gold. And that's how you'll know that the powder is, you can see it getting darker. That's how you'll know that the powder is melted. A lot of times when I do my YouTube videos, I'll speed up through this, but since we're doing a live, really don't have that option. Turn it the other way so I have something to hold on to. The neat thing about this is you have those little dots with the snowflakes, so if you get a spare part of the gold somewhere, you really won't notice it. Okay, now I'm going to turn this off, and I can already see I've got one over here that's not melted. Okay, and then I'm going to just look around and make sure that all of the powder is melted. You'll be able to tell by looking at it and then looking at the others to see if you've got it melted. I know I have that a little bit off camera, but I'm just trying to look at it and make sure that everything's melted that I want to be melted. Okay. We look good to go. Oh, there's one little spot right there. Okay, got it. Okay, now we've got all of it, all the heat embossing done. And we're ready to put the card together that quickly. Now, I did not, for this card, let me show you the original. I did not do any stamping on the inside, but you definitely could. Before I mail this out, I will definitely add some stuff on the inside just so it's not so plain. But I left it that way just to give you options of what you wanted to do on the inside. So let's go ahead and put this together. We're going to start by just adding some Stampin' Seal on the back of the piece that we just, our stamped piece that we just created. Like I said, this is a very quick and easy card. Goes together pretty quickly. And we're going to add this to the Balmy Blue. So I'm just going to try to line this up. I tell you, it's so hard to get it straight without putting your head over it. And if I do that, then my head's in the camera. So it's a little bit tricky. And that definitely didn't work. I'm just going to pull it up a little bit, see if I can get it off without causing too much of a problem. Okay, and we're going to try it again. I'm just trying to get it even. That looks better, much better. Okay, and then we're just going to add some Stampin' Seal on the back of our Bombay Blue piece. And we're going to bring in our Night of Navy, our card base. Almost put that upside down. And so I'm just going to try to put it on there, try to even it. Okay, and so this is going to fold like this. And I'm just going to take my bone folder and go over the back. Just go over that crease. And then all we need to do is add our inside piece. So I'm just going to put my Stampin' Seal on my white piece. Like I said, you could definitely decorate this up. There's a lot of neat stamps in this set to use. I just wanted to leave it blank for now so that I could make it more personal when I get ready to send it to whoever I'm going to send it to. So I'm just going to line this up. And there we have it. There's the one we did tonight. There's the one I had done ahead of time. Quick and easy Christmas cards. You could definitely, if you were making a lot of them, you could definitely do an assembly line, have all this cut and just go through and do each one. You could whip out several of these, you know, very quickly it would come together to have all your Christmas cards ready to go. You could change up the colors. You could do some in the blue, some in the red, some in the greens, and have a variety using the same design. So you didn't have to come up with a separate design, but all be the same card, just different colors, and then you could send them out. I hope you've enjoyed this card. I hope you will join me again next week for another Stamp and Share, and I look forward to crafting again with you soon.